Hey everybody, welcome to the Mike and JD Show YouTube channel. Thank you for being here. I want you to do me a big favor before you check out this clip. I want you to hit the like button. I want you to throw in a comment and make sure you're a subscriber to this channel. And then I want you to share this video with your friends. Help us defeat the algorithm. And then if you like this content and you appreciate this content, please head over to patreon.com/the Mike and JD Show and support the show. That is how we actually get funded to be able to do this. So we thank you very much for being here. And now enjoy the clip.
Competition starting to get thick. It's the click, so I hope you watch your A game.
We have Scott E Wrestling from man. He does work right here on the Voices of Wrestling. He also does work for Fightful. Does work for Fight Game Media. He's got his own podcasting network. The hardest working man in podcasting. Scott, what do you think about this whole NWA shit show?
It's very funny. I really don't like the NWA outside of like a few prospects they have. Shocking, I know. So it's I feel bad for some of the talent, but overall I just laugh at Billy Corgan.
Yeah, you kind of just reap what you sow. Billy Corgan, Smashing Pumpkins. I love the Smashing Pumpkins to this day.
Oh, they're
when Pumpkins
great.
are on the fucking radio. I love. If they came to Hawaii, I'd fucking go in a heartbeat. Billy Corgan is one of the biggest goddamn idiots in the history of not only rock music but in sports and media and everything. I listened to this stupid fuckface on Howard Stern one time, and he's very interesting person by it. And every time he's on Stern, I got to stop what I'm doing to listen. Right? I listen to him. He's going to be coming out with a book eventually, talking about his encounters with lizard people. That's who's running the NWA. Somebody that is buying into lizard people, and he's had actual encounters. So of course he fucked this whole thing up by having James Mitchell snort coke live on his pay-per-view in hopes to shock people to think, hey, this is the new NWA. We're crazy over here. You should come watch.
It's I can't astounding to me. First of all, Billy Corgan has this really overinflated ego about the role he played in 90s music, where he talks about him and Kurt Cobain like it was this great rivalry. I'm like, I think Billy cooked that up in his head. I never remember Kurt Cobain ever, and I'm from Chicago. I love the Smashing Pumpkins, but I don't remember Kurt Cobain ever paying him any mind. I mean, like Today came out like Today hit big like 6 months before Kurt died. So it's like, maybe you weren't kind of what you think you were. Like he's got a very high opinion of himself, high being the relative term.
Yeah. So he, at one point he had this quote. He said, if Nirvana is Led Zeppelin, then we're the Doors. I'm like, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
No, you're not even like, and again, I love the Smashing Pumpkins, but 90s alternative rock band, top 10. I would be okay with saying like in alternative rock, you got your Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots, Soundgarden. Talking about the grunge type of alternative rock, not getting into the heavy metal type stuff. You could Alice in Chains. You could probably put them right there with those guys, but they're kind of pulling up the rear. Siamese Dream is a great fucking album.
7. Actually, Melancholy is a better album, I think. But
Melancholy
7 at best.
Melancholy is an epic album. It is their white album. It is their fucking like masterpieces they have. I love Gish. I love Siamese Dream. I love Ava Adore. I'm one of the few people like that fucking like Ava
album
Adore.
Sucked.
But the song Ava,
Ava Adore's an alright song. The album,
that song was great, and I think Everlasting Gaze was on that album. But
tonight,
I enjoyed it.
Tonight is one of my all-time favorite songs. I cannot be in a bad mood. When the alternative station in Chicago died for the first time, the last song they played was Tonight from the Smashing Pumpkins, because it's a song about Chicago, and like it's an epic song. It's beautiful. Billy Corgan's a fucking moron.
Yes, he is. And Scott, before we get to some Joshi talk, I want to talk. Well, actually, hold on, just really quick. Let's get you guys' thoughts. Alexander Hammerstone, we talked about him last week. He requested his release from MLW. He's working GCW now, but nothing has been announced. MLW had said that he's not going to be released. At least they leaked that to the press. He asked for his release, and then he took his post down, and the next thing you know, Brett Lauderdale is announcing that Hammerstone is making his GCW debut, which you don't have to be free of a contract to be able to do that. I think MLW and GCW were kind of like this for a while because MLW was trying to become GCW for a
Lifting their
little bit.
storylines, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's any there, but I just want to make a plea right now. MLW, release that guy. Like, what are you doing? You got nothing to offer him. Let him go make some fucking money. And they did the same thing to Eras. He AAA guy. He requested his release. They said that they told Conan to release him. Conan never told him. So this whole time he's been under contract, which I think everybody's fucking lying in that situation except for the talent. So that came out. Everybody's abandoning ship. Lance Anawai's already been gone. Juicy Finau has already been released. Now Hammerstone and Eras. MLW and NWA remain a couple of shit shows. Go ahead, Scott.
I'll never understand the need to pay someone you're not using. I'll never get that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Alex Hammerstone's not going to become competition for the MLW. You know why? Because MLW doesn't have competition. They're below most competition that they would consider, right? Did you guys ever hear that comment from like Al Snow? Or I don't know if it was Al Snow, but it was from the wrestlers thing that they put on Netflix. Someone was like, you got WWE as tier 1 and AEW is tier 2, and then OVW is the tier below that. I was like, excuse me. So like, I think MLW thinks that same way. It's just not. Like, MLW has their own thing. They just, if someone wants to go away, they should just let them. Like, you're trying to build up goodwill, not take away from the whatever will you have right now.
Yeah.
I'll say this for Al Snow. He convinced a lot of people who really don't like wrestling who discovered that show that OVW is the third biggest promotion in the world. I heard a lot of people say that, and I was just like, "What? Oh, do you watch OVW?" I'm like, "No, I don't watch OVW." Like, why would I do that? And they're like, "Oh, it's really good." How? What? Huh? You know how I know? You know how I know OVW is bad? Paul told me it was really bad, and Paul watches everything.
I was just about to say, Paul Fontaine watches OVW, and he's like ashamed of himself for watching it.
Like
but he just really likes to make sure that he tries to watch everything. He looks at all the upcoming prospects, and and he says that it's like the worst television show out there right now. But MLW, you guys run one show every 6 to 8 weeks. It's on Fight TV, and then you take long breaks, like you take 6 months off. Just let the guy go get himself over and make a living, will you? Please, come on. But all right. So the reason why we brought Scotty on, but Scotty is not pigeonholed, motherfucker. Scotty can talk about everything. He's knowledgeable about all.
Yeah, I can talk about Alex Hammerstone and NWA. Come on,
absolutely.
But
Scott can talk about everything.
Here's what we want to talk about. Scott, what the fuck did we watch last night? What the hell was that?
Yeah,
I gotta
honestly.
I knew. I knew Scott was pissed. Scott showed up in my DMs last night and was like, "This is bullshit, man." I was like, "Hell yeah, dude! Let's fucking talk about this." I'm with you.
So Mariah May, right? I watched a little bit of her stuff in Stardom, and I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest like Mariah May and Stardom expert, but I have checked out some of her stuff, and I'm like,
you did more than a lot of the people that acted like they were excited. Good job.
Yeah. So like she actually, I was like, this lady is pretty damn good. I was like, I think that she could be a star in the US. And a lot of other people felt that way too. Apparently WWE was on the table, AEW was on the table. So when Scotty, not really broke the news here, but he talked about it here first.
I was a month off.
He said, yeah, it's fine. He came here and said that she's AEW bound, thought it was going to be Wrestle Dream. Didn't work out that way, but she's here now. And we were all thinking that she's going to be getting debuted in a big way. And because she's going to be a megastar, she's going to inject some much needed energy into this women's division in AEW, which is lacking all the time. People constantly complain about this division. They have all these great stars, yet there's no creative energy. There's something missing from it. We thought maybe Mariah could bring what was missing, right? She shows up and she's playing the Mickie James character from WWE circa almost 20 years ago, where she's obsessed with Trish Stratus, right? There other people have compared it to other things, but that was the first thing that popped into my mind. So Scott, you're the Joshi expert. You tell us what you thought.
One, I was happy for her, first and foremost. Happy she got to debut and, get a spotlight. They could have just had her do a run in, and that would have probably been worse because truthfully, I don't know if the crowd was going to, know who Mariah May was in that spot. However, I'm a big fan of, if you're going to debut someone, you like give this like highlight video of what they're able to do and things
Yes.
like that. It's like a common sense thing to me in pro wrestling. It's very simple. And I feel like we never do that anymore. And as she was talking, I was like, okay, yeah, talk yourself up, talk how you went to Stardom, things like that. And then it all turned into, I did it all for Tony Storm, and I was just like, what did I do to deserve this? I was like, what did I do? I was like, I know she's probably gonna make it work. Like, I saw a lot of people happy about how she made it work, and I'm sure she will because I'm confident in her abilities. But
Yes.
man, I just want her to come in and kick ass. That's literally all I wanted. This is a woman who went up to Julie and slapped her straight in the mouth and had no problem about it. Like, that's she's a badass. And now she's a stand for Tony Storm, which is we'll see. Now, I saw someone pitch the idea that like she'd use Tony Storm to get like higher up the card, like in her mind. And I was just like, okay,
Okay, so
I don't
here's the
have that
thing.
patience. So
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is that this storyline that they're going with is based on a movie called All About Eve from the early
yeah,
50s. Give me
yeah,
a second here. This is the Betty Davis movie
I heard this too.
about an aging starlet who takes a young actress under her wing, and the woman completely usurps her and like is the
Yeah.
heel of the story and leaves her like in the dustbin, right? So I know for all of us, because like people our age, Scott, you're younger than us, see this and we think the Mickey James or prior to that Tori Stable storyline that kind of got aborted halfway through, the single white female inspiration. Are you
Yeah.
familiar with the film Single White Female, Scott?
No.
It fucking sucks. It stars Jennifer Jason Leigh and Bridget Fonda. These two roommates, they live together. The one becomes obsessed with the other and tries to like take over her life. Right.
Mhm.
It's not a good movie. So that's kind of what we think. That was the Mickey James Trish Stratus thing. From what I am told, they're going to try to go higher brow with this. I think they've already lost the plot because everybody's brain immediately goes to what we already know because we're wrestling fans and we're uncouth and uneducated.
Yeah, and so here they debuted her as a fangirl, right?
They
So
did.
now I'm already not taking this person seriously, unfortunately. Like, and that so now can she overcome bad booking? It's very difficult, but I think she's talented enough, and she cut like
Ring the
when
bell.
she was on the camera, like I forgot that she was talking to that fucking idiot RJ City. Like I was like, okay, get out of the way, dummy. So like I was like the camera just seeks her out. She's a star, right? Like everything about her screams star, but they presented her as if she's less than because she wants to be somebody else. They should have presented her as the big star, right? And then we would start to believe it. Now I get what Scotty was saying. If she would have ran out into the audience, they wouldn't have known who she was. Vignettes, like what are like they have a
The
deal with New
old-fashioned
Japan.
way.
They could probably talk to Rossi Ogawa, right, and get that footage to present her and then make it seem like she's a star. Do that over the course of a few weeks. That'd have been so much better. But instead, they presented her as a fangirl who's less than.
I think if they do a few videos leading up to this and then you do this, it's not as hurtful for me as a fan because it's like, all right, you were building her up and then you swerve the story on us. Sure. Am I gonna love the fact that she's a Tony Storm super fan? Probably not. Like, I'm gonna be honest, either way, I'm not a big timeless Tony fan at the moment, but she's very popular. So I'm trying to look at it that way. They have paired her with someone who is very over. Hopefully by default that gets Mariah May over one way or the other, because ultimately, as I said, all you need to do is ring the bell and she will show you why she is badass, why she can be a superstar. And unfortunately, that's not always how AEW works with the women's division. So I'm just hoping her first match isn't like 3 months down the road, because I think at the end of the day, you should be showing someone who you signed to wrestle how they can wrestle. I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's a crazy idea,
Yeah.
but I think that would be good.
So I've lost the AEW hardcores, guys. Like the AEW hardcores have turned on me because
Hold on, JD. You know why you've lost them? Because you've lost that love and feeling.
I have in fact lost. It's gone.
Gone. Sorry.
So I actually had people today telling me that a vignette would have been a worse idea to
Oh,
do than, and I
okay.
was like, what? And so I put up the Mystico thing that they ran 4 weeks ago. And I'm like,
Yeah.
are you trying to tell me that what we saw would be better than this? And they're like, no, she comes in with a storyline. She came in and told us what she wants to do.
She could have done that
What?
after
That's
the
what I
video.
was trying to say. I'm like, this is wrestling 101. You build someone up. And I literally had like 4 or 5 people telling me that I was dumb for saying this. And I'm like, huh? Have I lost the people? I feel like that Skinner, that Principal Skinner meme. I'm like, no, it's the children who are wrong.
Yeah.
Like I
So-
was astounded.
They're like, oh, she comes in with a storyline. Guys, that doesn't mean the storyline is good. It's like, well, at least she has a storyline. I would rather her not have a storyline if it's going to be this one, right? Just introduce her and then figure out a good storyline. But instead, they just dumped her right into one where she's less than.
See, here's the problem is because Tony Khan has listened to these bad faith detractors on Twitter for the last 3 years who are the Vince Russo school of, you don't tell stories, you don't tell stories, you don't tell stories. Here's the problem. AEW for basically the duration of its existence tells too many fucking stories. It's too hard to keep it straight. Like, and it was just, they don't tell stories. You're a fucking liar and you don't pay attention. They do so many stories, and I get it. They're trying to get people involved. They're trying to keep everyone happy. But realistically, you're better off sometimes just going out there and beating the shit out of people and moving on and then move into a story. That's okay.
Yeah.
You don't need, and here's the problem. I would rather have a quarter of the stories we have in AEW right now, but just make them good. Bad stories, like lots of bad stories means lots of bad TV. That's why the pay-per-views are great and the video and the TV, sucks.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Scott.
I the only thing I will say, and this is because I just have investment in her and where she goes, because obviously I'm rooting for her as someone who's followed her career for the past 11 months. I'm happy she didn't just like debut on Rampage or something. Like just have like here's the video, her debut match on Rampage. Like I'm happy we didn't do that.
Good point.
Like I have to look at it that way because again, with the women's division, I have to look at it very differently from say when they bring in a Christian Cage or they bring in, Swerve Strickland, where they kind of roll them out on this red carpet of here's our big signing, right? So I think that's also the way I'm looking at it. And I will be kind to it because if the story is that she is the one benefiting from this in the end, then okay. I just don't want her to become timeless Tony Storm. She is so much better than that for me.
Can I say something controversial?
Oh, let's do it.
This is the most over Tony Storm has ever been.
Well,
and I know that we're not supposed to say that because I read it in like our Slack and all the time, and I hate Timeless Tony. I hate Timeless Tony. I hate Timeless Tony.
Oh yeah,
she's over, and I'm gonna say, well, what are the gates, dude? She's not in a position to draw money. She ain't Max, right? Yeah. The main event's supposed to draw the gate, and let's be real, Timeless Tony's a mid-carder.
Yeah.
This is the hottest she's ever been in her career in the States, I should say. She's really good, but let's be honest, she was the champion, and all anybody wanted was anybody else to be the champion but her. So actually good background for her to go crazy, to be honest with you. Now she's like acting like Betty Davis, and people think she's great.
Yeah.
Right, which is fine for a mid-card act. I know it gets everybody mad because she's not a serious wrestler, but I mean, like, oh, it's fucking mid-card. Mid-card can be stupid. I got no problem.
Dude, I liked the beginning stages of it.
Yeah, I did too. I like it better than we got now.
I think the movie skits jumped the shark for me. But I like the early stages of it. I like the where she started to go crazy. She started to unravel. I was like, oh, I think we got something here. The movie skits took me out of it. That for me, like I was like, this is stupid.
Oh, I agree. I think she cut a good promo last night. I think last night was probably the best thing she's done since adapting this character. And I'm not talking about me. I'm not saying I love Timeless Tony Storm and all this shit. I'm telling you that this is the most over she's been. Yeah. So
I can't deny that.
It's not for us necessarily, but I can't tell you
over.
Yeah, she's getting reactions in the crowd. Again, and it's not her. She's not in a
Yeah.
position where it's on her to draw the house.
Yeah.
She's a mid-carder.
Right.
Mid-carder's got to
And-
get people interested.
And again,
Guys,
that
one
is-
thing that us crazy hardcore fans need to learn is that some of the stuff that we hate is actually going to get over. We
Yeah.
just have to like, okay, look, I hate it. It sucks, but what are we going to do? It's getting over.
Now,
It
Max's
doesn't
shit
affect me.
sucks.
admittedly,
Scott?
like the way I look at this is again back to Mariah. The way I look at it is if she's over, hopefully that means Mariah will get over rather than getting lost in the shuffle, because that is something that many wrestlers who come in, get signed, they have a few matches, then they kind of disappear for a little bit. Like even Jay White did that. Jay White of all people, like, you know, kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit. If I can avoid that, and you know, she just has this TV spot every week, I can't complain too much, because again, you know, she signed the contract. She should, and I think she will be a superstar.
Yeah.
Because I
It's-
just feel like it's really hard to mess her up.
It takes time, and then unless they got WWE pedigree, Tony doesn't really debut them and push them right away. A lot of times, like we saw that with Jay White.
Well, Tony
yeah,
Storm,
we saw that with.
Tony Storm did get pushed right away. She came in.
Well, she came straight from WWE television,
and she was champ pretty quick.
Yeah,
and
yeah. Well, she came right off of WWE TV,
and the
which is
crowd
why.
didn't take to her. They wanted Jamie
Yeah.
Hayter. Let's not forget.
Yep.
Your cousin brings up a good point. I buried him a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago on the show. He goes,
Well,
"LA
continue
Knight."
burying him.
No, I'm actually going to praise Joe this time.
Oh,
LA
fuck him.
Knight, yeah. I mean, like, let's be honest. That dude is not a good wrestler. He's had a mediocre career, and he just headlined a giant pay-per-view in an evil country. But I mean, he is over. He is one of the most over stars in professional wrestling today. And I have to walk into class and hear kids go, "Yeah," and I always say "dummy," and they don't get it. So
Yeah,
the dummy thing doesn't carry over. But that's the thing.
well,
Is like,
because he doesn't
Go
do
ahead.
the dummy thing in WWE.
No, he doesn't get
right?
that. That's why I mess with the kids, because they didn't watch TNA. They don't know nothing. No, that's the thing though, is like this is the stuff that gets over with people, right? I know we love wrestling, and as long as Tony Storm has good matches and people cheer for her, I mean, like sometimes we got to meet people halfway.
I don't know what a Tony Storm Timeless Tony match looks like, so I can't even comment yet.
It's a good point. We haven't seen really what that means yet on the main. We will next week, right? Her and Sheeta.
Yeah. So more Joshi talk. I think we've beat that Mariah May thing to death. So WWE is interested in Guilia. Scott, what do you know about this? And are the rumors true? And do we think that she'll be heading over there?
I can't stress this enough. If you call yourself a professional wrestling company and you're not interested in Guilia, shut down.
Yeah.
I like, if you see Guilia show up to a show, if you see her make her entrance, if you see what like her look, you don't even have to see the match. Like, you should see the match, because usually the match is really good, but you don't even have to see that. If you don't have interest in Guilia, you should not be a company. That's my opinion on this. And with WWE, it was only a matter of time. The moment she got that strong women's title and was going to have US dates, I said, all right, well, here we go. Like, someone's going to see her and someone's going to want her. It's the Io Shirai effect all over again. It's not Kairi, it's Io. It's that star power that she had in Japan.
Giulia is stunning. Like, not just just her presence. Like, you see, I've never really watched her wrestle, but I see like pictures of her on Twitter all the time, and I always stop and I go, wow. Like, there's just like this something, like, it's not just the fact that she glows, she's remarkably pretty, but she's just like, she has a striking presence that like transcends. And you just like, I totally get why WWE, like, they're trying to, you know, be WWE, grow and get, and I think there's something about Giulia that even Io and Kairi don't have, where it's just like, and she's young too, so you can grow with her. I mean, why wouldn't both companies fight over her? Again, she's Japanese, so you gotta break that language, which they're bad at. They're still really bad at breaking that barrier.
But you know what, JD, the very interesting thing, she's stunning. Dude, her entrance, she's got a great presence.
Yep.
And then in the ring, second to none, obviously. Yep. But yes, she's Japanese, but she's also half Italian. And Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, she speaks Italian too, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. So that makes her a bit more marketable to me in my eyes. And if you can get her to learn a little bit of English,
yeah, but
I think.
And this is where they struggle, though, is they always struggle.
Yeah.
They always struggle trying to get people really over that don't speak English. They've never quite figured out that secret sauce. And for a while, I thought
Yeah.
AEW is starting to figure that out with foreign talent. They seem
But
to have lost the
I
fastball on that.
not to defend WWE here, but I feel like they've done a really good job with Asuka, making her into a
Yeah,
big star.
Asuka's probably the
Um,
best
and-
comp for
Yeah.
Julia.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
And Nakamura too. While I'm not a big fan of Nakamura's
Mm.
matches anymore, I think that he's been an upper mid Carter since day one, and he's done really well there. Then of course Io Shirai has done really well there too.
She's
And
the
so
reigning
I
champion.
think they kind of have a way to do it with the women's division there and the Japanese stars.
Mike, I think you've lowered your expectations on what Shinsuke Nakamura is. And when you if I'd have told you in 2016 that this man is going to be a perennial upper mid Carter, I think we would have all
You
went,
don't want to watch him
"What?
wrestle.
What?"
I think no, he was one of the greatest I've ever seen. And then he came over. He had one great match with Sami Zayn, right?
The first time out.
Knocked it out of the park. And then after that, he was like, I'm chilling. So he's doing exactly what he wants to do. So that's why I'm like, he's had a good career there, but he's chilling. And that's what I'm saying. He's like an upper mid card guy who's just happy to be there and surf and just hang out with his friends. That's what he's doing.
But if he's encouraged to do stuff like he used to, I think it'd be different. Like, remember when he was just punching AJ in the balls for a while, and that was his whole gimmick? Like, it's not like they've programmed him to be what we all remember Shinsuke Nakamura to be. And again, that's what always gets me about, oh God, I don't want to talk about Akira Tozawa. Please
Io has a counterpoint, Akira Tozawa counterpoint. All right. I see your point.
Time.
I will just shut up. Go ahead.
The easiest counterpoint is Sari. It's the easiest counterpoint in the world.
Yeah, let's talk about her. So she was in NXT for a
Good
little
segue.
bit, right? And that was my next topic.
Okay.
Yeah, so she was in NXT
The
for
March
a little bit.
stuff
It
was
didn't
right,
work
by
out.
the way.
They tried to make her into a schoolgirl, right? Isn't that what they tried to do with
Magical school.
Have you ever heard of Sailor Moon? I think
No.
it's an anime. Well,
Mike's never heard of Sailor. Mike, you're so like,
Dude,
not a nerd. You're
I don't
so
watch-
not a nerd in some aspects. I love
I
it.
don't, guys.
like you
you're
don't
gonna
have
find
to
this hard
watch
believe.
it. You don't have to watch it.
I've never seen a single goddamn Japanese cartoon in my life.
All right.
It's just never happened. Sorry. Go ahead.
All right. Well, that was kind of part of the mindset with that character.
Okay.
But my point was that they can mess up things, and I will say Sari and Julia are very different wrestlers overall. Julia, like I said, if she walked in the door tomorrow, which she can't, by the way, sorry, PW Insider, she cannot walk in the door tomorrow. She can until at least March. So and even then, I will add Bushiroad will do everything in their power to keep her, as they should, because she is a superstar. But with Sari, right? I don't know where we were going with this.
Yeah, no. So Sari, she left NXT. She went back to Japan, and then there was rumors out there that she was negotiating with an American company other than WWE, and then it was reported that she was negotiating with WWE, and then all of a sudden, Scotty Wrestling breaks the news and she signs with Sukiban, which I believe is a money laundering scheme with the Yakuza, right? Sorry, I don't want to ruin your reputation. That's Mike Gilbert saying that, not Scott E. Wrestling, not Scott Edwards. That's Mike Gilbert saying that.
So
Mike, you live in Hawaii. Like you best watch your words sometime when you talk about,
I'm the only one on this set that's actually had an encounter with Yakuza, right?
That's what I'm saying.
I lived in Japan for 2 years and I had an encounter with them. So and I'm here to live to tell about it. Go ahead, Scott.
Sukiban's ran by like people that live in America. So
okay, so not Yakuza, but it is money laundering scheme, right?
There's some Yakuza involvement. Let's be real here.
I am not speaking of this. I have a side to I am someone who's interviewed Sari and stuff like that. So no, what I'm going to say is when I saw PW Insider make that report, I'm just moving away from what you said.
Sorry, sorry, Scott. Sorry, move on. Sorry, go ahead, buddy.
When PW Insider released that report, my first, second, and third thought was Sukiban, because they have been the ones feeding all the information since that company had an idea and we slowly learned what it was, and then it just kind of bam out of nowhere. And then Sean Ross Sapp, of course, reported that they had interest. WWE had interest in bringing her back. And I instantly had fear because I couldn't want anything less than Suri going back to WWE. I will willingly say this. Since she has went back to Japan, she is probably the best in-ring women's wrestler in the world.
Wow.
I'm willing to say that. That includes everyone in Stardom. That is just her. That is her range right now. She goes in there, she delivers, she hits hard. She's pretty much everything that WWE didn't let her be. So thank you to them. Sukiban's kinda. I think I was on here when we talked about it before. I don't really understand what it is. I have yet to figure out what it is. They run once a quarter, and they have a anime. See, back to you not watching any Japanese cartoons. They have like this anime like way of showing match cards and stuff like that, which I think is cool if I knew the idea and then they're on TikTok, but they do.
Yeah.
So
and it's like you have to watch it on TikTok, right?
yeah, which I
Okay.
did not watch it on TikTok the first time around. I watched it on YouTube when they posted that instead because
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I am maybe 24 years old. I have no idea how to even try to watch it on TikTok.
Wow,
Dude,
you're an
Dude,
outlier, sir.
I've been in some secret briefings that
About
through the
TikTok?
military. No, I've been in some secret military briefings. And this information is not classified, by the way, but we're told to stay as far hell away from TikTok as we possibly can. And I tell my airmen, I was like, you better, if you're on TikTok, you better not let me find out about it, and don't pull that shit up at work because we all know what that thing is, and it is not good for us. So I will not be getting on TikTok.
Chinese military?
Yes. Yeah.
Shut up.
It's they're infiltrating our society, so I will not be supporting that app.
So you're not gonna watch Sukiban. That's tough. Anyways, she signed a multi-year deal.
That show could be on cable television and Mike would not watch it.
That's probably true. But yeah,
I
she
know
signed a multi-year deal.
I like Josh. Every time I watch Stardom, I love it. I do. I've never seen TJPW. I've never seen fucking Ice Ribbon like Parker. Parker's an Ice Ribbon guy, but I like Stardom.
You ain't watching Sukiban on TN if it was on a real show. Don't fuck with me. Who are you talking to?
No, I'm not. No, I would never.
I would let me just say this. If I was to get someone to Joshi, I would not direct them to anything besides Stardom. I will tell you that now.
Yeah.
And that will not be changing anytime soon. But yeah, multi-year deal. I think that's what you wanted me to talk about. I got lost in a lot of
Is this a real multi-year? Like, what does this mean? Is she only like? Is this a U.S. multi-year deal where we get like first rights on you when you come here? Because you said they run once a quarter. Like, I don't know how this company plans.
Well, they've run one show and they just scheduled their second show. So there you go.
Well, and so I guess my question is it exclusive? Because there were some folks out there, because TNA is coming back.
Oh God!
Every name of people that are out there are connecting the TNA to them, and there's people out there trying to connect the dots between Suri and TNA. And I said, Suri, guys, Suri is not going to TNA. She's going to Sukiban. But is this like an exclusive deal? Can she go other places?
In the America, probably. Like, I don't know if she can't go to like WWE. Well, she probably could if she wanted to, truthfully.
Yeah.
But like, to me, from what I have figured out, a lot of the wrestlers, mind you, in Sukiban appear in Stardom. So there's not much exclusivity outside of the US. And like one of the wrestlers has appeared in the US since then. Actually, multiple have. So no, there isn't. I don't know if that has anything to do with an Impact, of MLW, if you sign with WWE or AEW, that you're there.
Yeah.
But to me, it's more of a way to come to the US while staying home in Japan. Like, that's still your base, but here's a show or two to come over for more than anything. So I don't think there's like exclusivity or
and then they could probably take like when they come into town for the Sukiban shows, then they could probably get their agent to book them out to some of the indie companies that are around while they're in the States.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I think, would make a lot of sense. Suri is kind of a different cat from a lot of the pretty much every other wrestler in that promotion. She's just like much more The WWE part helps. She's much more in order per se, but she really controls her own dates and stuff like that. So I don't think she'll probably wrestle much here in America besides Sukeban, but I could be wrong.
Gotcha.
I have massive questions about this company, but
I
So-
wish I could give you the answers. I randomly started getting press releases from them when they opened, and I was like, "How did you get my email?"
Well,
So
is it not in your Twitter handle?
no,
Oh, because dude, I get random emails from people, just
That's
because they found it through my
bold.
Twitter. So
that's
yeah.
a bold move. Why would you do that?
dude, I get press releases from this guy, Lavi Margolin, who's super nice, by the way. He's a really good
Shout out to
business
that
guy.
guy.
But he sends me emails about his show, and I'm just like, I don't ever remember giving you my email. And then one time, JD will appreciate this. I said something really nice about a book written by Irv Mushnick. Now, Irv Mushnick wrote the Jimmy Snuka book about him and Nancy Argentino, and I read that book about a decade ago. And Irv Muchnick saw my tweet and sent me an email, and I was like, I didn't want to like say, how did you get my email? But it turns out, like through Twitter, they can find your email address.
That's crazy.
I get press releases from two people, Justin for Noah and
I get
Court
those.
Bauer.
You still get the Court Bauer press releases.
Still get I'm blocked everywhere, but I still get the press releases,
That's
which I
crazy.
appreciate.
That's crazy.
That's
I
funny.
get Sukeban, and I usually tweet it out because it's before they tweet it out. So, I have nothing else to say. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like the Suri thing, I saw, I tweeted, and the floodgates opened. Everyone was very happy though, because the WWE thing was very recent, and everyone's like, "Here we go again." Especially
They booked her like shit. Like for all the talk of Shawn Michaels as a genius booker, I was watching some of that stuff because Creeds, like the Creeds, and I
Like
was like,
Creeds.
"Holy shit, this is bad!" Like
Awful.
it was like so. There's like this popular wave of books they called academy stories, where these girls
Yeah.
or it's mostly girls go to like these, for lack of a better term, magical like boarding schools where they're like
Mhm.
vampires or wizards or whatever, and it was kind of like that a bit,
It
but
was
then
terrible.
then she'd step like she was dressed like a schoolgirl, and then she stepped through like the NXT entrance, and then she was Sailor Moon, which is an anime about young girls watched by 40-year-old men so they can masturbate.
Oh my gosh.
That's what it is. That's what Sailor Moon is.
We might have to delete that from the show so we don't get like some kind of weird strike or something.
That's what it
disgusting.
is.
Yeah, no, no, dude, I lived in Japan. You could like get panties and vending machines there. I understand.
Really?
The culture over there. Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's just a different culture. Different culture. Hey, Scotty. So you had a big announcement earlier this week about your show. Why don't you tell us about it?
Wait, time out. You didn't want to ask about Megan Bain?
Yes.
You didn't enjoy
Yes.
that
Okay.
headache?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
a
no,
Monday
talk-
story. It's been crazy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
true.
honestly, that wasn't even on my notes. But yeah, talk to me about Megan Bain. I guess my first question is, who the fuck is Megan Bain?
Megan Bain is someone who made a big name for herself in Beyond Wrestling. I don't know if either of you have ever
No.
watched Beyond
Watch
Wrestling.
Beyond.
but
Watch
That's
Beyond.
here.
Define big name from Beyond. Sorry, go ahead.
That is here in in New England, based in New England, of
Right.
course. She's very tall. She's
Very tall.
she has like an Amazon type feel.
Wonder
and
Woman.
yes, thank you, Wonder Woman. And so she came to Stardom in July, got a world title match right out the gates. She was just another person to come in, someone that made a lot of sense because, again, with Mariah May, you come in, you improve, you come back, you're at least like 5 times better, I'm sure. And she has done that. And she had torn her ACL, I believe, before that. So she had just come back, wrestled a little bit in AEW, and then went to Stardom. So she is someone that I think a lot of people find as a really great prospect here in America. And once she showed up in Stardom, I said, okay, well, people are going to be demanding her for her. They're going to want her. And ultimately, it didn't matter because AEW has had her signed the whole time, which made sense because she had a Titantron. She wrestled on their shows. I think she even won a match on Dark before, which is a big deal once upon a time. And of course, the whole story was she's been signed. And now it's just down to the he said, she said situation of did they send her? Did they, and it
So
was a lovely headache to walk back into the other day.
yeah, so Sean Ross Sapp reported that she was sent by AEW to Stardom, but she was a signed talent. The Stardom Twitter account, which is I assume the English version, who is it's ran by an American who states that he books the talent, right? Said that no one sent her to Japan. Now there's like a back and forth where some saying that they were sent, yada yada. It kind of what it looks like just from reading the different tweets and the different stories that have come out is that she asked if she can go and AEW said yes, we're probably not going to use you anyway. But go over there. That'd be great. Go ahead and go over there if you can get bookings. And then when your bookings are done, come back. That's kind of what it sounds like happened to me.
Yeah, 100%. I think she made the deal for herself. AEW approved it, and that's what happened. But the way it sounded was AEW was like, "Hey, go on excursion to Stardom." That's what.
Well, because people are so hungry for there to be like a working relationship between those two companies, then there just isn't.
I know.
And they need to just get over it.
They do.
They're not adversarial. You know what I mean?
No, but fans are. You want to talk about? I've never seen a group of possessive wrestling fans like American Stardom fans. How dare she go over there? How dare you say that? How dare you?
Whoa, hey,
what?
Hello, I am one.
No, not you. You don't have a crazy like anime avatar or something like that.
That is true. I just have my ugly face. That's
some weirdo showed up in my DMs today about that too. When I was talking about the Mariah May shit, I had of some hype videos like Rossi Gawa never would have allowed that. I'm like, well, you go to Bushi Road, the parent company. I don't know. I'm like, okay, whatever, mute. Like these people, they get so weird about this, and like it's whatever, man.
There is. I don't know if you both probably were able to miss this, but seeing I am a fan of AEW and Stardom, I did not miss this back when I think Tony said something about Stardom at Forbidden Door, and like people started throwing things. Oh my gosh, it was bad. Like both sides just got so obnoxious with one another. Like they were trying to dunk on each other. So when Utami wrestled a single Ring of Honor show, everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's happening!" They didn't even play her music. You know what YouTube is? YouTube, you can get any song that you need. They didn't even play her music. But my point is, both sides really want to get the
can legally though. But continue.
Well, okay, they work with Bushi Road. It was really easy to get her music.
It was doable. They just didn't do it. Yeah.
They played it over on Ring of Honor. Like once she won, they played it. So she got the jobber entrance and then won. She was already in the ring, is my point, when you turned on Ring of Honor. Yeah, and she beat Trish Adora, which is someone that they are obviously like.
Wow.
Yeah. My point is, both sides want the whodunit. Like they want to get the dunk on the other, and it's like, at the end of the day, who cares? Like I don't care which side. Like eventually, I do think these two companies will work together. You know why? Because they both work with New Japan, and New Japan makes everyone work together at the end of the day. CMLL works with AEW. That seemed impossible once upon a time. So you know
like
what's
a month
not
ago.
impossible? Exactly. That's my point. Like CMLL is able to work with a company that also works with AAA. That's unheard of. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Stardom and AEW will eventually work together. I'm not pushing for it because, we just talked about Mariah May's debut and stuff like that. Like I'm not in the necessary need for it, but I'm not also like someone that's like no, don't happen. It happens when it happens. It's natural. Like it's a headache.
Hey, Mike, how familiar are you with Megan Bain?
I learned about her this week.
Did you see like pictures of her and stuff like that? Another striking presence.
Yeah, they have a type.
Like she's big. Like she's like athlete big. Like like I said, Wonder Woman. Like I think that if because Scott, has she gotten like way better? Like Mariah May.
Oh yeah,
there.
100%.
Yeah, it's crazy how you go to somewhere that works all the time. You get better. Wild. She can get over.
Weird.
Like she's gonna come over to AEW. She's gonna get over.
Yeah,
I hope her. So. It just depends on what they do, right?
You can't bring her back and just have her like lose.
Yeah,
she's like a monster heel type right off the bat. That's what Stardom did, and no one knew who she was, and she got over. It's hard for people to get over.
Yeah, but that's. I mean, but you can book them. Like if they have some charisma and presence, you can book them to get over if you book them right.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Like, and that's clearly what they did over there.
That's not necessarily true, as we've seen
I
throughout
mean,
the annals of
it's
professional wrestling. Lots of
yes.
charismatic people, lots of people who we thought were can't miss, fail to get over.
Name one.
Yeah,
Name
some
one. Name
some
one. Name
people
one.
some people just don't connect with the audience, right? There's like nothing that you can do. But others can, as long as you book them well, they can. And then there's people that can overcome bad booking. Like Jay White came in a cold debut in a mid-card tag team, and then look at him now. He's a full gear main eventer, right?
He's
like
drawing.
You can overcome it.
Someone else.
Yeah.
You know what's great about Jay White? He got attacked by the devil and hasn't given a flying fuck about it since it happened.
No.
never talks about it, never references it. And he's
Yeah.
just like, I'm just going to keep, you know what? He should just, possession is 9/10 the law. He is the AEW world champion currently.
Yeah. Yeah. He's held the belt for a month, right? And he got attacked. He got attacked by the devil. Now the devil has moved on to the Acclaimed. Who cares? Like, there's no feud there anymore. Doesn't care.
No, Jay White doesn't care. Good for him, by the way.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, before we get out of here, the bunny Allie left AEW. Do you guys have any thoughts at all about this?
Does she return from the undead realm?
You know what? There's a rumor going around that the Butcher and the Blade might not be far behind. The only way I could see them going into TNA is as a trio, doing that. And if the Butcher and the Blade asked for the release by Tony should be like, "You guys still work here?" Okay. Now I happen to enjoy Butcher and the Blade. I'm not a fan of Bunny. I just like I don't see a ton of talent there. You know
Mike,
what I mean?
You don't think that Scott would take Braxton Sutter back?
I think that he would.
He is not talking about me. Just want to put that out there. You were talking about D'Amore. I just want to
Scott D'Amore, not Scott E. Wrestling.
Scott D'Amore. Yeah.
TNA fans always refer to Mr. D'Amore as Scott. They're all on first name basis with him.
Yeah.
That's good. I guess he brought back TNA. I guess that's allowed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but she did get murdered on their show. So but so did Eric Young, and Eric Young's back.
Eric Young, that's what I'm saying. Will she come back through the undead realm? Odds are yes, because she's going to keep working, right?
Well,
she's got something to offer.
Well, the guy who wrote for the Undead Realm is doing Undead Realm in AEW right now. He's got the Coven with him now, and he's AEW's lead writer. Rosemary's not even on TV anymore. She is.
No one's
now,
on TV anymore. They're not even at a real show right now. They're just
they're
scabbing their show out to all these pirates.
JD, her name's Courtney Rush on TNA now. It's not even Rosemary anymore.
She can be Rosemary anytime she wants, man. That clock is ticking.
Hey, but to get her back through the Undead Realm, you need Father James Mitchell. Are you going to bring that guy on television now?
All you need is a little bit of the cocaine, yeah. You
know what the payment is? It's going to be $2,000, right?
Brought it back. We circled it back home.
Yeah. All right, Scotty. Hey, tell us what happened with the new show, man. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, so my show, 5-Star Joe's Show, is now free and available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. I'm not going to lie. I have no idea where else people get their podcasts, but I know there's other places. So that's very exciting because I've been doing the show for ever.
Now, question: is this a Fight Game Media feed, or is this just the 5-Star Joshi pod feed?
It is on the Fight Game Media feed. Thank you.
Okay.
So everyone can look up Fight Game Media Network. My show will be on there every single week moving forward, which is a lot of fun for me because I really wanted to get it to more ears because I've had multiple people ask me, "Where's my show?" And I always tell them, and they say, "Okay," and that's the end of the conversation. I'm excited. I'm very excited about it. I appreciate Garrett giving me the chance. I think I whined to him enough, and he was very nice to me and let me do this. So I appreciate it. And this week actually rushed it. We were planning on doing it slowly, and then Julia stuff happened. Mariah May showed up. Megan Bain stuff happened, and he was just like, you know what, we're gonna do it this week. And I was like,
dude, it was a big week for you. So we had the Megan Bain stuff earlier in the week, and to be honest, until you brought it up, I had already forgotten about it. And then I was planning on bringing in somebody else because
all the same day, by the way. Every single thing happened on the same day.
Wow. So I was planning on bringing somebody else that I'm going to hopefully bring in because they did a great article about the AEW's business and about, whether or not they're profitable. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I want to bring this guy on. And then boom, 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 one after another, Joshi. And I was like, we need Scott. Scott's got to explain this stuff to two idiots like me and JD, because we don't quite understand what's going on in that world. And so we really appreciate you being on.
We hostile, a hymn, I clear my throat and preach the gospel. My flow is doper than ever, nice when we separate, but together there's a murderous